different directions.
Shelf, yeah.
You want to come some closer?
Well, that's okay.
The Bob's Book Facebook page should be streaming. It might have even started by now. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Barb's Books, Belle, Missouri, Osage Arts Community. I want to thank all of you so much for coming and helping us give a warm Missouri welcome to some traveling artists from Tallahassee, Florida, by way of Dallas, and Dallas by way of New England. Did I get that right? All right. Without much ado, we'll get right to it. I have that New York urgency about it. And here is the bio. It took me a moment to pull that word out of the bio. Is that short for biography or biology? What is that short for? Biography? Here's the biography. I'm stalling. That Taylor provided for me. Tell me what you think of this. I think it's a rather milquetoast. No offense. It says, Taylor Denise Teachout is a singer-songwriter, collage artist, and sometimes poet currently living in Tallahassee, Florida. But I would argue that Taylor Teachout is much more than that. Taylor Teachout is one of the most talented and prolific collage artists I've ever seen. And I've surrounded myself my whole life with artists. And I tend to know a lot of collage artists. There's one in Rochester who I thought was the best I'd ever seen until Taylor started producing work that I saw and I was blown away. Taylor is an OAC alumnus. Is that the proper tense of that word? Alumnus. I did go to school for English. My name is Nathaniel Stolte. I should have probably led with that. I'm from New York. Not that New York, the rest of New York. Not the city. There's a lot of New York that doesn't care anything about New York City, and that's the part I'm from. So alumnus, prolific and talented collage artist, picky eater, good friend. Taylor Teachout listens and asks questions and plays the guitar. Did I say that right? Did I say it like Missouri, the guitar? All right, without any more of my BS, here is Taylor Teachout.
So this first song, I started writing it after catching a friend in a lie and realizing that our friendship would be coming to an end. But in the process of writing that, another friend of mine had taken his life. So the song evolved while writing it, but it altogether is about loss.
I'm missing out. We could suffer the heat a little bit, right? Okay. Well, that's much better.
So I'm a super planner. I like to try to plan out everything, try to be organized. But I realized that life probably works a lot better for me when I just go with it. So this song is kind of about that fight with myself. It's called In the Know. I'm just cruising along. There's nothing that I want. Going with the flow. Can you tell me where it's going? I'm as chill as I can be. There's nothing wrong with me. I take it as it comes. When and how does it get here? Let's sing it a little bit higher. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to let go. I still have questions. Am I looking in the right direction? I'm trying to take my time. I'm ready to be there. When I was a child, my daddy asked me, when you grow, who do you wanna be? I said, Dad, I don't know, but I know who I don't. And I'm so tired of going with the flow. I wanna be in the know. Is there a future worth seeing? When and how does it get here? I'm trying to let go, but I still have questions. Am I looking in the right direction? Am I looking in the right direction? No longer a child. My daddy asked me, why are you supposed to be here? I said, Dad, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna be in the know. I'm gonna be in the know. Is there a future worth seeing? And when and how does it get here? I broke my glasses right before tour, so every time I'm playing, I look down, they're trying to come right off the face. This is another kind of sad song. It's called Better. It's a song about loving someone who's dealing with addiction. You said you're scared of who you've become. Couldn't have been as scared as I was. Can you see me through your penguin pupils? Can you see me through your ice blue eyes? You raise your hand. lived here at OAC for about a year and a half, and we were having a get-together down behind the Purple House, having a fire, and one of our friends we hadn't seen all day. Nobody had heard from him, and he shows up and his beard is gone and he's got stitches in his face, and I was like, what happened to you? I said, oh, I drove my car into a ditch, but it's fine. And I was maybe already a little tipsy by the time he got there, so I wrote a campfire song. So it's a really quick, short one. It's called The Worry Song. I wish I didn't have to worry, but I do. I wish that everybody else knew what's so fucking good about you. Wish I didn't have to worry, I do. Worry, I do. I guess that everything is going fine so far. You drove your car into a ditch and smashed your head against the window, and I cut across your chin with a scar. Worry, I do. I worry, I do. I worry, I do. 'Cause you're a jerk, and we all know it. But anyone who backs against you is just playing to lose. Things can work if you let it. But you're in your own way, we're all in our own ways. I wish I didn't have to worry, but I do. I wish that everybody else knew what's so fucking good about you. Wish I didn't have to worry, I do. Worry, I do. I worry, I do. I worry, I do. That's the whole thing. The last ukulele song I'm going to play for you tonight before I switch to the guitar, I actually wrote it for a full band, and last summer I got to tour it with a full band, which was fun. But it's just me and a ukulele, obviously. So I need you to headbang in all the right spots. You guys got me? What a summer, what a fall, and up until it broke our soul, I placed a path into the grass between our yards. What a nightmare, what a dream, what did any of it mean? I swore you knew it all, you said you knew everything. play I actually wrote here in the next room over while hanging out at the bookshop. So I'm from Dallas, but my family is originally from a small town called Abilene. There's not much out there. There was an Air Force base, and that's gone, so there's even less. But I spent a lot of summers there with my great-grandmother, who I was really close to. And though she proclaimed herself a good Christian woman, she still held on to a lot of our old Southern superstitions. So like, if she would brush her hair, she would take all the hair out of the brush immediately and wrap it in a tissue before she threw it away, so no one would pick it out of the trash and do voodoo on her. Or if it was gonna rain, she would turn off all the lights and cover all the mirrors and tell us to get away from the windows and only speak in a whisper because the devil is listening. So I used that to write about the feeling that bad things are coming. The song's called Heavy. Don't get too far for me to reach you, and we have chance that I need to. Don't get too far for me to reach you, and we have chance that I need you. Cause I heard it's coming down, here it comes, it's coming down heavy. Did you feel it coming down, here it comes, it's coming down heavy. Maybe you should pick me up. Nighttime, get away from all the windows. Cover mirrors, turn out all the lights. Hide your hair from those who wish to harm you. Cause I heard it's coming down tonight. Did you think you'd drown in your conviction? Would you die to right what you know is wrong? Did you think if you hummed another hymn, you'd be safe for just another song? Don't get too far for me to reach you, and we have chance that I need to. Don't get too far for me to reach you, and we have chance that I need you. Cause I heard it's coming down, here it comes, it's coming down heavy. Did you feel it coming down, here it comes, it's coming down heavy. Maybe you should pick me up. So a couple of summers ago, I had this weird experience where it felt like everyone I'd ever dated since high school was texting me to be like, hey, what you doing these days? Want to hang out? And they were all late night texts. So so I wrote them a lullaby so they could go to bed and leave me alone. It's called I Still Kinda Hate You.
Oh, ouch.
Hey, how you been? I know it's been a while since we talked, and it's been a while before then. How are things? Did you find what you were looking for?
I'm sure you are a better person, and no, nobody really can be perfect, but I'm a better me when you're not around, and I still kinda hate you. I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. I do, I do, I do, I do. Two more songs. This one is one that my dad actually wrote. We were sitting around and talking about the songs that we write but we don't play out, or we just don't play anymore. And he showed me this song that he wrote for the girlfriend he had before my mom was his girlfriend. And it's called Fine. And as soon as I heard it, I stole it. It's not my song. So yeah, this is that song. Has gone slow, and I just wanted you to know, to see, to feel the way I feel right now, to feel those things I fear, to tell the truth. I don't know how I made it. Changed my mind, and I was hoping I would find that you changed yours to the way I feel right now. Two should play this game. The only peace I've ever felt is when you speak my name. So I chase your steps, and I'd expect that I would find you laid your past to rest as I held on to mine. As I respect your sweet request and say goodbye, the only question on my mind is, are you fine? A little silly. It's also an audience participation song, so it'd be really cool if you did. So I wrote this song when I was 14. In middle school, we had an English teacher, an art teacher who was deathly afraid of butterflies. We were not allowed to draw butterflies in class whatsoever. And when we asked her why, she said, "Oh, my brother was mauled to death by wild butterflies."
And I still don't know if she was being serious or not, to be honest. But so years later, me being a super nice kid, I wrote a song about it, a silly song about it. So I'm going to show you your part, and then we're going to practice. Let me put on my glasses for this so I can see. I'm going to show you your part, we're going to practice, and throughout the song, I'll prepare you for when it's going to be your turn, okay?
Okay.
We got it?
Got it.
Okay. So, your part is going to be,
Poor Billy, poor Billy.
we think we can do that?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so ready, we're going to practice.
Poor Billy, poor Billy.
Okay, here we go.
Billy Moore once was adored by every living thing. He'd walk amongst the forest and he'd listen to them sing. The butterfly can grow and all your wings are withering. He'd but one child whose thoughts were loud from the beginning. Young caterpillar was so filled with jealousy and grief. And when the crown was passed on down, he thought Billy a thief. The king died soon, his son cocooned, it gave him time to think. When he emerged, he spread the word and built an army. Oh no, Billy's got to go. Oh no, Billy's got to go.
Okay, this is your part. You ready?
Poor Billy, poor Billy. They gathered round him, tried to drown him in flurries of wings. He suffocated, no one saves a butterfly king. A mutiny was heard, you see, they'd have him taken down. No human being could ever don a butterfly's crown. A girl had seen she ran, she shrieked, she hurried into town. And from her lips she threw these words to everyone she found.
Okay, this is you.
Poor Billy, poor Billy. They gathered round him, tried to drown him in flurries of wings. He suffocated, no one saves the butterfly king. A mutiny was held, you see, they'd have him taken down. No human being could ever don a butterfly's crown.
Okay, this is our grand finale. We're going to do it 4 times.
Poor Billy, poor Billy, poor Billy, poor Billy.
Thanks, Belle.
Well, hot damn! Taylor Teachout, everybody. We are gonna have an open mic after the features. That's the plan. But I'm of a mind that I don't ever really put out a list. I'm not like, here, sign the list. I'm just gonna be like, hey, who wants, you, who wants to come up? And then you come up, and when you're done, I'll come back up and be like, anybody else? And then we'll know it's done because I'll read a couple poems, and then you can go buy Reverie's books or Taylor's collages. You might have saw them when you came in, that vibrant burst of colors, right? Fantastic. She's got prints, buttons, stickers, notebooks. Did I miss anything?
Greeting cards.
Greeting cards, and a Venmo. So, Reverie Koniecki. When I met Reverie, her last name wasn't Koniecki, and I've been over it, like sitting here, not just here, but earlier, I was like, what was Reverie's last name? It doesn't matter. But Reverie Koniecki is a writer and educator living in Dallas, Texas. She earned her MFA in Poetry and Creative Nonfiction from New England College. Her work has appeared in Guernica, Multiplicity, did I say that right?
Guernica.
Guernica, Multiplicity, Heavy Feather Review, Post Road, and Other Places. And she is the author of The Wars That Steer Us. And you might notice Taylor's collage on the cover of The God of Sore Feet and Bad Backs. So, the introduction's not over yet. So, I like to talk when I have an audience. I'm like, oh goodness, captive audience. Here we go. So I think it was either 7 or 8 summers ago. I was on my very first ever poetry tour. I had driven in a van from New Jersey to Dallas, Texas, with a bunch of no good beatniks. We had stopped in Belle on the way. We had been here, and now we were in Dallas, Texas. And I am not very wealthy. I was a college student at the time. I was gearing up to do my student teaching, which, as you might know, is very expensive because you have to like go work a job every day that you don't get paid for. As a matter of fact, you pay to be there. But this isn't about that. This is about how we didn't have anywhere to stay, but I brought tents. So we were like, there's got to be somewhere to tent it up in Dallas, Texas. But we'll put it on a grassy knoll if we have to, right? And so we were at the reading, and people were like talking to us, buying books. It was great. Great energy. Dallas is a really great town. We were in Wild Detectives, I think, in Deep Ellum, Deep Ellum, I think, is it? Bishop, okay. And I was like, Nadia Wilnisty, who is a prolific writer and publisher in Dallas, and Reverie were talking to myself and my friend, and I was like, hey, do you know where we can camp around here? And they were like, no, not at all. But that's why they're probably like, what is this nutjob? I think he's going to camp in the city of Dallas, Texas. But then as we were walking to the car, I hear, hey, poet. And it was Reverie, right? And Reverie and Nadia were like, you can come stay with us. And I was like, there's 7 of us. There was 7 of us in that van at that time. And Reverie was like, all good. So we go, and it was, you know what Texas is like, Texas heat. Oh. It's like this, but a little drier, I think. Could be wrong. Okay.
All right.
It was this air-conditioned palace in the suburbs of Dallas. And Reverie gave a van load of complete strangers a key to her home and let us come and go as we pleased. And we were cooking food. And we stayed there for like 3 days. And it was an oasis. It was a panacea for the soul, right? So the magnanimity, is that the right word for that? Simplicity and trust that Reverie showed some complete strangers was profound and meaningful. And she met her current husband, that same week, if I'm not mistaken. They had been in Dallas. I like to take a tiny little bit of credit for that. A little bit of a Cupid, because they both lived in Dallas. They had never met each other. And then me staying there, because Paul booked us to be there. And I'm always the face, the mouthpiece of stuff. So I like to take credit for it. So appreciate that. Tony's laughing, he knows. Got that Leo blood too. Reverie, Koniecki, by way of Dallas, Texas.
So
Oh shit, I fucked up. No, go ahead.
Oh, so you have something else to say?
No. I've said enough.
So I'm going to read to you starting from To the God of Sore Feet and Bad Backs, and then I'll read you from the other book, and then I'll read you a couple of newer poems. So when I was younger, not really too much longer ago, I was really, really broke, and so I wrote about it. For all the bills I can't pay. Miles ago, my thighs curdled into barbed wire, chain links wrap around my flesh like nylon. I search for quarters in the frozen food aisle. Hands shake as I pass a bad check. Bad as in it don't listen to its mama. Bad as in spoiled past its prime. Bad as in it don't follow nobody. Bad as in bad ass. Bad as in a boomerang for brokenness. I wait for judgment and wonder if there's a commandment against having bad credit. The refrigerator is empty. The cashier gives me a receipt for my lies. The shelf life of a promise has the sharpest white teeth with a cavity so hollow it sings. A loneliness so big it swallows. The children are watching with black hole eyes. Whole galaxies have succumbed to another's wanting. The power of a debit card with a positive balance. I unpack the groceries, blood before bread, I say. So this next one is like about like young love and how naive you are when you fall into love and then it goes back. The imagination of resemblance. We pull over and park on that side street just off the Berlin Turnpike and follow the trail to the ledge overlooking 91. Windswept trees sway like lit matches. Mosquitoes feast on our welted legs. We rake skin with ragged fingernails. We are red fire ant hot. We are so electric, we should be waterproof. We thought love was waiting for the city to get around to filling the potholes and watching headlights cast small fires. The active construction zone blinds us. We lay on our backs and watch the broken rib of the night cleave the sky. We couldn't tell the difference between reflection or shadow. We melted like drugstore eyeliner, but that was never the purpose. We expected it to be easy. Like that winter, he worked at Strawberries and turned off the alarm so we could steal CDs. He says, I love you, and I want to break all the windshields. The heat has broken righteously. We speak in crashing waves, allowing words to carelessly lap the surface. I pan for gold with cupped hands. You paddle traffic. We cradle the current together, positioning ourselves toward the mouth, toward the teeth we pointed, the razors we uttered, the arteries we severed. This next one is called shopping. After the signs demand she justify her innocence, no hoodies, no backpacks, only 2 at a time allowed inside. She zips her purse shut before she enters, her hands close to her body. She sees a dress she wants, keeps it on the hanger, holds it arm's length way. All the way to the dressing room, the clerk tallies her. She carefully slips on the dress that is not hers, onto this body that is not hers. The mirror reminds her that her hip-to-waist ratio is unexpected. She hands the clerk the wrong size, grabs a large, and pays. I wrote this next one when my daughter was a senior in high school and she was getting ready to go off to college. And I've always been one of those parents who was just like, I can't wait until they turn 18. But then when they did, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was. So this is about that. When your oldest daughter gets mono, you make apple ginger tea in the crock pot. You ruminate about the health properties of cinnamon and fresh ginger, how they're supposed to be the cure-all for everything, how the vitamin C from the freshly cut apples and limes will surely boost her immune system. You stir and think about how last night was the first time in years she asked you for a massage, and how surprised you were to discover that she still has that dry patch of raised skin on her left ankle, and how automatically your fingers traveled back in time to when you first brought her home from the hospital to that tiny 2-bedroom apartment on North Ames Street. You are surprised that you still remember the detail of the pink flower swirling green stem wallpaper, the green cushion rocker and its matching moving ottoman that you'd put together yourself. You are surprised at how much your body aches for the absence of hers, how time has cleaved your bodies further and further apart. This is the peninsula that broke off and became an island. You think of the first time your mother drove you over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge as you knead her elongated legs. You wonder if she'll have more mercy than you, who just stood there in the lobby of Davidson Hall for a nanosecond before offering your mother a pageant wave and rising to the 4th floor where you would bloom into a freshman. You wonder if she'll allow you to cradle her one last time, if she'll pretend to not be embarrassed at your sentimentality. You roll your thumbs over the birthmark on her back. You remember how you used to give her lavender baths in the sink. You want to lift her, to accordion those arms and legs so she fits into your lap again. You want to hold her head fast to your chest as if both of your lives depend on this contact. You want to rock her till she falls asleep, to listen to each breath. You want to believe that each collapse of her chest will be followed by a subsequent rise. Alright, so now for some from The Wars That Steer Us. And I'm going to start with the title poem. I sit on a wicker hamper outside the bathroom, barely able to stay quiet. Pre-adolescent girl giggles carbonate my throat. You emerge, escorted by shower fog, the scent of Dove soap and Jergens, wearing a clean face and nightgown. Pink foam rollers line your hair uniformly like headstones. I execute my joke and roar with all my stomach into the small night of the hallway. Your hands move efficiently, knotting themselves around my neck. Hair follicles on my arms rise, heads coming out of prayer, tulips breaking ground in the last leg of winter, Jesus on the third day. I quickly understand that jokes are battlefields of undeclared wars. The currency of the spleen has no value here. No matter how many metaphors you throw at a rock, it will always be a rock, which is to say, you wished my father loved you enough to stay. My father, half man, all beast, with whom I share this uncivilized language. There are no pictures of him. There is only me, perched on the coffee table with the smile of a minotaur. It is as if we were never here. I'm all you've got, you'd say, with the remorse and pain of a chipped tooth. The smell of my blue magic-coated cornrows breaks the spell. You realize I am not the monster you seek. This is not a fucking game, you say quietly. Voice omnipresent, the hum of the refrigerator, controlled with threat. Anyone would sacrifice the small animal of themselves for love if they had to. So I wrote this next poem during the pandemic, when there was, of course, a lot of uncertainty and fear and frustration. So this reflects those feelings. It's called The Blackest Summer. Hashtags, everyone dying for some reason or another, until a virus becomes as benign as eating Brussels sprouts and ham for dinner. We cocooned into roadkill, slumbering in breakdown lanes, all fur and claws, joints angled at injustice, drawing eyes to a fixed point, a single stain, a single black dot. This is not my heritage. The night howls thickly. Sidewalks are so hot. There is no handshake. You, caught between bicep and forearm, a chokehold is the first dance in this marriage between nation and body. A union predicated on skin, not made for breaking. In the morning, all of your shards are intact, like the moments before your lover leaves. You shower, dress, make coffee, expect the privilege of sameness. But the latest video of a black man dying on a sidewalk, but the latest rising numbers of the pandemic, but a president who doesn't care. You finish your coffee, you call your mother to express her wish to be left alone with 45 in the Oval Office for just a few minutes. Your friends text you and ask if you are okay. You tell them everyone is dying for some reason or another. So we're about a year out from the overturning of Roe versus Wade. So I wrote this in response to this a year ago. It's called Clarence Thomas Plays with My Pussy.
Love it.
A woman asks for change at the bus stop. I give her a box cutter and a turkey leg. She bleeds. Clots rush down her legs like funeral tears. I understand that she is saying thank you. I didn't know it would hurt this much, she says. I tell her my grandmother disappeared in a swarm of mosquitoes. All that was left of her body was the handle of her machete in the jungle. The sound is deafening. Why am I always naked? If you want to know the truth, interrogate my snatch with your biggest speculum. Light a match. Tell me what you see. Press me hard against your examination table. Spatchcock my sternum. Stretch my legs into stirrups, my nipple hard and black as the pipeline to prison. You offer me food stamps and powdered milk. If the shoe fits, you say. A cat can have kittens in an oven, but I wouldn't call them biscuits, I reply. You set the thermostat to broiling. I believe you are the alpha and omega. How else can you explain the balled-up fast food wrappers, the Newports, Carter blood care, my blood splashing on the black and white checkered linoleum like piss on a sidewalk? I shiver and ask for a napkin. Fold the corners into neat triangles. Did you know you can only fold paper so many times before it refuses to bend over? This next one is addressing book bans. That year we burned. We sit in front of the television offering alms, palms skyward, knees kissing the freshly baptized hardwood. Our bodies are as clean as innocence, but we have already seen. On screen, the governor stands in front of the courthouse as the neighborhood burns, offering thoughts and prayers. There is not an unclenched tooth in the crowd that encircles him like a morning fog. They demand a body, any black body. No one is going to die tonight, the governor says, just before the bullet inseminates the chambers of his heart like a growing fetus. Everything hinges on a lie. A screen door slams itself shut as the mosquitoes search for blood in the night. The war zone is a library. Books snatched by their spines, taken hostage under the guise of preserving history, their mouths duct taped shut before being tossed into the fire. What about the children, someone asks. What about the children, someone responds. From ashes, our ancestors rise and remind us that silence will not protect us. My grandfather says the earth will be cleansed and nods his head in revelation. He tells me to remember the water and takes a deep drag from his Pall Mall. He is an indignant stain on a white shirt, bleached in the name of forgetting. This next one is about like having a difficult relationship with your mother, but then like after having experience, being able to look at her as a woman and not just your mother. The language you should understand. For your mother who went to every school board meeting to make space for your body. Your mother tries to kiss you and incises your cheek instead. You don't speak for light years until the injury is so far away it doesn't matter anymore. There is no apology, only the weariness of anger. Yet you make revolutions, ruminating the block as many times as you can fit into a lunch hour. This is the season you will go the wrong way on a one-way. You complain about your mother to anyone with a nodding head. You run as far as your smoker's lungs will take you, map-questing 1,700 miles across country with $50 in your bank account. Baby strapped to your back, you flee a cold, unfriendly city to another cold, unfriendly city with the tools of complacency stowed in the trunk of your car. Bone, sharp teeth, monogamy. You are as naive as the uniformed children plunging into the crosswalk, electrophiles from third marriages, predictable plaids and knee socks, conjugating hot chips and Kool-Aid pickles, fingers caked with the subtitled language of salty red pollen, and saliva streaking thighs, destinies of illuminated in taillights of dissipating traffic. You brand yourself a new name with the earnestness of revelation. You, connoisseur of TED Talks, you, unsuspecting mother tongue, you, bearer of out-of-wedlock children, bending to raise eyebrows like a willow branch. Not everyone believes in the river, but everyone is immersed in a God that will eventually kill them. Under the cinch of the Bible Belt, you become fluent in the language of the city. Squat trees with sparse shadows, burning grass at the side of the highway, scalding upholstery that sticks to your thighs, air as unforgiving as a pair of jeans one size too small. You forgive your mother and start to see her as a woman. Strings of grackle lining the stoplight swarm into choreograph, rising and falling like the stock market, black waves collapsing into small, undeveloped countries. All right, this one is called Another Video. Have you seen the video yet? My husband asks. I am not going to watch another black man die on film, I say. I dodge the bullet of reality with a list of shoulds and should nots. Black death should be dignified. Black death shouldn't be a spectacle. Black death shouldn't be trusted to the talons of the police. Black death shouldn't be a preemptive sentence. Lies I tell myself. If I don't watch, I'll stop the loop of him dying over and over again. If I don't watch, I'll be able to breathe without the American dream tightening around my throat. If I look away, it won't hurt so much. Think of the mothers with their countless sorrow and open wombs cocooning their bodies as they watch their boys get pulled from existence. Boys who could have been mine with confident smiles and youthful swagger. The boy is mine, the imprint of his first howls in the world, a clenched fist for a nipple and hungry grunts, a body curled like a kidney bean, the squeak of his swing as it propels back and forth in simulated flight, the mutual longing for his head on my chest. First, birthday, riding a bike, girlfriend, heartache, dying. Think of the mothers as their flesh is separated from the bone, as their sons' bodies are left for carrion eyes. This one is called Flight of the Mourning Dove. The difference between being invisible and wanting to disappear depends on who is delivering the violence. Subject to object, subject to self, but never just me and you with naked knuckles and sharpened teeth. Our open-mouthed smiles, skyscrapers begging to be noticed, outshine the muted yellows of a neighborhood at dusk. Chimerical shadows, superimposed on one another, wrangle over the sun. The Supreme Court is a spectator at a cockfight with sweaty fists gripping weather-beaten dollars as if its pulse depends on savagery. When congressional lines are crossed, my voices form collective sentences quilted together by generations. My mother reminds me of liquid swords. This is the night everything changed. The burn. Even in a nation where color is a contagion, no God will ask you to kill for them. However, a corpse will bring distant carnivorous cousins with fuck you relationships together for meat on Sundays. If forgiving is freedom, then I have unhinged 1,000 flocks of mourning doves, the way a black mother releases her child into a world that doesn't love them. This malaise is on the napes of our necks is a battle of conflicting angels. We pray at high noon in public restrooms, alternating between saving and being saved and having the audacity to exist. This one is called A Man Sits on a Bucket in the Shade Waiting for Change. According to the board president, due to the conflicting interest of words, an internal investigation has been prompted. Since killing is as natural as sun-bleached hair and forks at the dinner table, we break out the good china and crystal flutes, toasting, perhaps, a diagnosis. Damned like a man on a ladder, intimate with laws of gravity, of a boy plucked from a neighborhood, reverberating like a lonely basketball's dying dribble, echoing the displacement of a herniated spine, like your daughter who has grown into herself and further away from the articles of childhood. Giggles, princess dresses, pink cowboy boots, bedtime stories, boogeymen that stay in the closet. With a hunger for innocence, for lost beauty, for stretch marks carved into tree trunks whose foliage kaleidoscopes the sun, whose political leanings are questionable, dreams of a world without flat tires or mosquitoes, of water in all the ways it can be weaponized. So we dream of rewriting the book our grandparents could not read, whistling without danger, not getting pulled over, gray whiskers and bald spots, dying in old age, and the joy found in the absence of light.
Golly. Thank you all for being here. Who's next? I don't know your name, but please come up and introduce yourself.
Oh, sure, okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel.
Hi, I'm Leah Schulte.
Leah, say it again?
Leah Schulte.
Schulte?
Leah Schulte.
Schulte. Stolte is my last
Okay,
name.
S-C-H-U-L-T-E. and how are you?
S-T-O-L-T-E.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah.
Distant relation. I'm doing well, thank you. Leah, everybody.
So anyway, I'm Leah. I'm here from St. Charles, Missouri, where for the last 4 or 5 years I've co-owned and operated a laundromat called Midtown Washboard Laundromat. I never anticipated owning a laundromat. It was definitely a career change, and those experience became poems, and those poems became this book, which is just out a few weeks ago.
Oh, excellent.
So just wanted to thank you. All-published. So we have the trio. The trio of washboards graces our front wall, bona fide relics in the basis of our name. A glass one, unearthed at a yard sale. The trusty, never rusty metal one, bequeathed to me by a cousin from some ancestor. A miniature lingerie model, a dear aunt's unused wedding gift. Initially, I envisioned a wall full of washboards to dazzle customers as they enter, but learn their rediscovered popularity as a musical instrument severely limits availability. So the trio is it. I run my fingers across the zigzag ridges, smoother on the glass, tighter on the mini, and that sensation elicits visions of bricks of harsh bar soap, tubs of cold water at awkward heights, rolled up sleeves, forward-leaning positions combining body weight with elbow grease, and wonder, what gave out first, washboard, fabric, or skin? So that's the opening poem in the first chapter, and the first chapter deals with things in the laundromat. It's followed by the second chapter, which is all on tasks that I do in the laundromat. And then the third and fourth chapter are about memorable customers. So I'm going to read you one about a very special customer, Alice, because I expect there's probably a lot of Alices in Belle. Alice and the tribe. You do 3 to 4 bags of laundry every week or two, so that's a lot of laundry added up over the years, especially since you just turned 90. Since we chat during your visits here, I know you've had 3 husbands, several kids, dozens of grandkids and great-grandkids. I also know you live in a double wide on the remnant of an old farm now sold and whittled away with a street named after your husband's family. And believe it or not, I know you worked in a laundromat years ago, so I jokingly try to hire you, and you longingly wish to accept and relive that time, and perhaps get respite from your current life, which I don't know. But I know for certain, you are a member of a tribe of special women, women with hunched backs and gnarled fingers and short, no-nonsense hairstyles, women whose flexed posture and worn, crooked fingers were shaped by bending over, serving husbands, cooing fussy babies on their lap, stirring a pot on the stove, quilting or crocheting or sewing, writing a treasured recipe to share, picking up sticks in the yard, wrestling a stubborn gate for a waiting tractor, coaxing vegetables from the earth, fingering a rosary. I know other members of this tribe. My mom was one, and many of my hardy aunts in the West, some older ladies from the church, and definitely other women who have graced this laundromat, toting or pushing or wheeling the dirty laundry they will tend. Women who say did not have a good life, or more accurately, an easy one. Women who gave their bodies and energy and time to family, community, God. Alice, may you and the tribe know my respect and gratitude. May you all find peace someday, if not in this life, then the next. perhaps in some new shape and form, one that is pain-free and glistening and moves about with ease and delight, and that the angels, unicorns, and fairies are serving you. So yeah, the third and fourth chapters are about customers. The fourth chapter on customers is called How to Handle the Talker series. And I've got poems on different types of talkers, the gusher, a dripper, the bester, the expert. And then chapter 5 goes on to talking about items, lost and found items I found in a laundromat, and some of the fictional stories I wrote for them. And then the final chapter is kind of about aspects of America and how being a business owner has affected my perspective on America. So I'll just end with this poem. My own sort of Rushmore. We spend time together, us five, though not enough, in the office at the plastic table on the back side of the change machine as I remove you and pour in quarters. I ask questions, and you four, from the messy stacks of bills I build, sometime provide answers despite your glances and stoic poses. It's my own sort of Rushmore. Private, 2D, muted shades of green and white paper. Oh, Hamilton, adorning the $10 bill, uber productive statesman, but our president not to be. Lover of words in this baby nation, you are wrapped into notoriety by another wordsmith, Miranda. I follow your gaze from a handsome profile above a scarf and search for the vision that impassioned you. And on the 5, President Lincoln, humble aide, your face sculpted by personal and national sorrows. Our number 16, whose term and life were squelched too soon. A thinker, a writer, a rare soul who could see the long view. Sir, what is the path to sew this divided country together? Andrew Jackson, number 7, least known to me. I recall some rumblings to contest your spot on the $20 bill. But per wiki, you were a fighter of big banks and for the common man. I'm common, so how can I best fight my fights? George, premier patriot, undisputed number 1. On the lowly $1 bill, you are probably seen and handled the most. Fitting. Of the 4 comrades, you're the only one to look me in the eye. You can speak directly to me, sir. I'm listening. The worn, the crisp, the well-traveled bills that your 4 faces grace, I wish by merely touching I could gain all that you gained in your lifetimes. You 4 nation builders, please help me build my business, strengthen me and my communities. Make this money and my efforts multiply, not for legacy, not for greed, but for goodness and rightness and abundance for many. Our time is up. I wrap rubber bands around you and your clones, zip you up in the bank bag, and tuck you all into the dark cube of a safe, where protected, you can rest undisturbed and prepare to share more wisdom when we meet again. Thank you, guys.
All right. Mr. Clayton?
Can you get me out of this chair?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
You get on one side, I get on the other. I think we get it up. There you go with it. Got it? There you go.
Thank you.
John Clayton, everybody.
This is not going to be poems. This is a journal. My wife died 28 months ago, and I've been kind of on a trip since then to complete some promises I made. So that's what this is about. My real friends, I think, now are in the poetry community. So this is where I've decided to share this.
Thank you.
You knew my wife, I think. She was a special person. It's been 5 months since you left on a journey I could not join you on. Today is the first time I've thought of you, and it brought a smile to my face instead of a tear to my eye. I know that as long as my mind is semi-functional, you will always be with me. I do miss your physical presence so much. I miss your giggle and the twinkle in your eye when I told you to give the handsome man in the red beret a kiss. I miss you holding your glasses and pointing at me with the earpiece and saying, "You better watch yourself, buddy," when I would kid you about getting a potato tattoo on your butt. I miss the look of contentment and pleasure on your face when two big granddaughters crowded into your recliner with you. I miss the pure joy that would spread across your face when the first oyster from a fresh dozen rock crossed your lips. I can still hear you giggle as you caught blue crab on a rod near Pine Island, Florida. I remember a motel in Holland, Michigan that advertised beds with magic fingers. I remember making out in my 1969 Mustang. Those bucket seats were cool, but the console was hard on the love line. I remember fishing on Bonfilm Creek at night because we were too poor for any other form of entertainment. When I met you, I only thought about how hot you were, not how smart you were. But when I realized you were a lot smarter than me, I felt pleased and lucky. I remember the pride we both felt when you graduated magna cum laude from UMR after starting classes at age 42. Those engineering students underestimated the competition they were facing from the skinny little housewife. I remember the pride I felt when you got into Mizzou Law School, graduated and passed the bar. When you started representing abused and neglected kids, I remember thinking that you had finally arrived at the place God had in mind for you. I'm thankful for the 47 years of being your spouse, and I'm especially thankful for the year of COVID. Although we didn't know it would be our last year, we put it to good use. We spent hours each day talking, reading, and just soaking up the nearness of the other. I told you every single day in our last year together that I loved you. Usually, you would say, "I love you too," and sometimes you would just look up from your book and smile. We didn't have to talk. A raised eyebrow, a puckered lip, a wink was all we needed to communicate love for the other. Some say we come from stardust. I'm not really sure if that's true. But just in case, I've started leaving a little of you at places important to us as promised. A little on the banks of the Niagara River with Sand Spring girdling behind me and the waters of Bennett Springs lapping the shore. A little of you strewn over the deck rail overlooking the lake and for the birds and the squirrels you loved so much. A little of your stardust on my mother's grave because each of you were your own person and loved and admired the other independently of anyone else. I know you both would like that. I know that you did not fully understand my Vietnam issues, and I did not fully understand the issues life had left for you. But we were able to give one another the space and support we each needed. I'm thankful for that. Today is your birthday, 2021. I took us to the bay at Crystal River, Florida. My tears and your stardust mixed together in the sparkling water under a clear blue sky. October 13, 2021. I had a dozen raw at Ollie's on the beach and spread your stardust in the canal. I did so miss your smile when the oysters came. Last night I saw 2022 come in. It was the first time in 50 years I've started a new year without a toast from my love. Though you were not physically here, I could see you in your recliner, sitting on your right leg, holding a glass with at least 3 shots of bamboo. It is February 10, 2022. In 17 days, you will be gone a year. Today, I sprinkled a little of your stardust, and the wind carried it out over Hoover Dam. I still see the smile of satisfaction you had at finding the Pink Bus Tour Company, woman-owned and woman-run, They did do a good job. It's April 12, 2022. The red bud tree outside your closet window is starting to bloom again. The wisteria is beginning to bloom. It is not yet fragrant, but the blossoms are still developing, and the weather is a bit cool for the first day of May. May 12, 2022. I checked the cemetery today. Your monument has been set. It is beautiful, simple and elegant. That Missouri red granite was the right choice. It stands alone in a field of gray. June 24, 2022. We gathered at the Vienna Cemetery to inter your stardust. The vault was white and had wide blue ribbons to lower it into the hole in the earth. I read the poem, This Girl and the Important Part, and spoke about the monument and gave the admonition that future generations who come here to pay their respect could do so with more information about who you were if they recorded what they knew and felt about you. It is my hope that your memory will be as long-lasting as this granite monument. Randy and Ken lowered the small vault into the hole. There were some in attendance who treated you badly, lied about you, and stole from you. They may think you are gone and no one cares, but they're wrong. You love them and may have forgiven them, but I haven't. I promise you there will come a day when they will realize that karma has served them the dish they have earned. June 25, 2022. This was the day for the public to celebrate your existence. It was well attended. Sherry read her poem, Tanya and Rachel spoke, Bob and Lauren spoke. The program opened and closed with the jazz funeral dirge in march. I Do Believe was played as you requested. I spoke and told people about the dawn I knew. Of course, I didn't tell them everything I knew. No one will ever know everything. What you did not tell other people will be lost forever when I die. You were my friend, my buddy, my lover, my soulmate, my wife, and the love of my life. I do miss you so much. Maya Angelou said, every storm runs out of rain. I think she may have been wrong about that. August 19, 2022. I've traveled 1,700 miles to get here. One more promise kept. Today, I rode up the highway to the sun in Glacier National Park to that big rock where we said holy hands. With my back to the road, I sat on that rock and thought about you. The sun was still shining up here, even though the shadows had already started creeping up the valleys. I uncapped the pill bottle, kissed it, and watched your stardust slide out. The wind caught it and swirled it into the sun. Bon voyage, my darling. Today is January 26, 2023. The sun is shining and it's 56 degrees. A little windy. I spread some of your stardust near Pine Island, Florida. It's the place where we would go by ourselves and you would catch blue crabs on your rod and reel. Remember when the tide came in and turned your bucket over? You were cursing and giggling and I was belly laughing. The wind caught your stardust and carried it across the road and to the water on the other side. Memories. About dark today, I spread your stardust around the tree round table at Bob's house. Lauren died today. Bob will spread some of her dust around the tree also. July 9, 2023. I've spread some of your stardust on your mother's grave in the Sherman Township Cemetery in Michigan. The journey is nearing the end. Today, July 10, 2023, I raised some of your stardust over the Mackinac Straits. That's the highest part of the Mackinac Bridge. This is the final place that I promised to spread your stardust. My promise to you is complete. I will always miss you and love you. It's been 2.5 years since you moved on to another dimension. I'm healing. Karma has given me some people to love and to care for, and for that I'm grateful. I don't think we get over our past grief. We just grow around it. And in the process, bring in other people to love too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah? Come on up. Thank you so much. I had to look at what the date was. I was like, the 9th, like
Yeah,
that
that
was
was-
days ago. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm Nathaniel.
Mary.
Mary? Mary, everybody.
Uh,
Yeah, please do. You know, right? It's tough to follow. Like,
I
tough to
know.
follow that.
Oh,
I don't know if you're rubbing your eye from the allergies
Yeah.
from what he read, but
So moving.
It's very moving,
Oh.
yes. Yeah, take just a minute. Um, we assume many roles as we journey through life. And I'm going to read 2 poems first that reflect on a couple of the ones that I did have. One of them was from several years ago, and you'll see my kids were little. And the first one then is Bits and Pieces. Bits and pieces, mosaic, too eloquent, too ordered. Collage, perhaps. My days a swirl of bits and pieces that animate me, flakes of life, created by demand, needed, sometimes unwanted, yet somehow cherished too. Stuffs of motherhood, bits and pieces. Actress supreme, slipping into parts, body split efficiently, performing all, hands hushing, kneading, stitching, hands caught in diaper wet toil, arms lifting, hugging arms, over full, trying to hold days together, yet spilling over with bits and pieces. Mind organizing, correcting, listening, remembering faintly a distant self, thoughts thrilling, catching growth in scattered babbles and wobbly steps, bits and pieces. Bits and pieces, surely something, but sometimes define tagging as anything at all. Bits and pieces. And this one, a little more current than more recent part of my life. Question for caregiver. We are at the doctor's and he's asking questions. A checkup for this loved one I've brought for his appointment. The doctor is making sure the needs of this patient are being met, both physical and emotional. I'm helping the patient respond. The answers flow readily. After all, they are enmeshed in my daily life too. But then, unexpectedly, he asked me, and who takes care of you? Startled, I opened my mouth to reply, and I'm pierced to find I have no answer. A wave of heat sears through me at this sudden awareness, this raw exposure of my vulnerability. I blink back, stinging tears. I think our culture and all the things that our environment that surrounds us with is just always challenging, always exciting, sometimes difficult. But its attitudes, the expectations of our culture is a sea that we have to learn to navigate as we define ourselves in our world. The first one, what if? Do you suppose the methodically munching cow, barn, bred, and fed for meat, do you suppose she ever from eyes and lowered broad head gazes down at stolid legs and sturdy hooves? Do you suppose she wishes herself fragile, captivating farm like deer, lucky ones, at least while living, free? Does she wonder, just supposing, would I too elicit sympathy? And sometimes I'm in situations where something comes up and I say something in response, or sometimes I say part of what I want to respond, but I don't always, and this one kind of comes from that place in my life. Watermelon seeds. When it started, I had good intentions. Believed the familiar, generous sounding phrases our society throws out there like, want to be happy or right? Peace over confrontation. No one told me that just swallowing it could, like those watermelon seeds my aunts warned me not to swallow when I was little, germinate, grow to mass within, consuming the me in me. I didn't know all those just swallow it moments of holding back honest responses could lock me into thens. Mark into patterns of relating, allow others to read my silences as green light. Hard to change the signals now, halfway through our intersecting lives. Better, hindsight seen through loss, to face the unpleasantness of spitting out seeds than to carry the weight of watermelons. In this one, I'm just going to read. Hologram's hope. Outwardly, we shine as perfect three-dimensional persons, while inwardly, the interference of accumulated hurts have hollowed us out. What if, amidst all the loss we have given harbor between that once vibrant us, we may yet enlarge these spaces we have stubbornly carved from within each other, make room for one more negation, forgiveness. Then, just perhaps, in the grace of this empty space, we may find each other again, fleshed out now, real, free, the scars on our once wounded hearts pulsing hopeful, beating a deeper, gentler rhythm of life between us. And this last one, it just came out of something where you kind of ask yourself, if I were a fish, what would I be? If I was a color, what would I be? This was, if I were a vegetable, what would I be? So here's the vegetable. My breath. The shape of my breath is carrot. My long orange root sunk deeply into the earth of me. Its tap hairs drawing from all the cells in my body, emerging as cloud of tiny particles, fuzzy green carrot top. My breath shooting upward into the beckoning blue of limitless sky.
Anybody else?
After you.
You got one?
No, I want to share something.
Okay. I'm gonna be quick.
Don't be quick.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
I could stand silently to take a knee for the clock, like the Kansas City Chiefs did.
Oh.
Super Bowl? What? Okay. All
We
right.
know you can't be quiet.
I do know how to get quiet. It's hard. It's so this is called It Rained from Columbus to Nashville. My last taste of you was Atlantic, ancient, recycled salt that parched lips well before I lost my gas cap in Georgia. It rained from the Everglades to Tallahassee. With new memories of Alabama red wattle and pale chicken egg, stern chicken eyes, Sunday Alabama chicken supper, it rained from Montgomery to Memphis. The house has no mirrors, but the ghosts smell of chaw and old granddad. The knives are dull, the pots are dented, hard water stained. I won't offer the courtesy of conjuring your name. No more room here for spirits, just sober reflection, kitchen table black coffee mornings. I washed you off every dish, every mason jar, every spoon, every hair. It rained until Valentine's Day. All right, I like to use the open mic to try out new stuff.
New shit.
New shit. So this is stuff I'm working on right now. Do you want the funny one first? Let's do the funny one first. See if whoop, whoop. Let's do the funny one first. All right. Uh-oh.
Gotta find it first.
Jeez, I just had it. Golly. Good people of the Heartland, I come before you today to talk about this tragedy, this farce, this sham that you call pizza. For the sweet love of God, stick to barbecue. All right. The one time I ate pizza in Belle, I bit the inside of my mouth, and the best part of it was my own blood in my mouth, right? Ooh. Yeah. Come see me in New York. I'll get you the best pizza of your life. Change your life. Okay, this is called, I don't have a name for this actually. There's ants in the hummingbird feeder again. I've tried everything from prayer to spit, moving them around the yard, blood and vinegar at the shepherd's hook base. They follow the trail to the sugar water, the clear liquid temple. I can't seem to trick them. They march while I'm sleeping, while I'm reading this poem. I'm gonna put a hook on the underside of the porch roof and hang them from the house. If that doesn't work, I'll hang them from the moon. The tiny hummingbirds, more movement and light than substance, will find their way home.
Nice.
All right. I want to thank you all for coming to Barb's Books, Belle, Missouri, summertime. Can I get one more applause for Reverie Taylor? Woo! All right.
Round of applause for Nathaniel Stolte for MCing.
I live for right here. You know, this is Mark McLean. He has something to say.
I always have something to say. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Poets travel far and wide to be in this little place, to share themselves with you, the audience. I'm part of that. Thank you, audience, for being here, for creating art. Thank you, Texas and Florida, New York. Thank you for being here. We've talked a lot about COVID for a couple years, and it feels like we've left that. So I'm glad that we've returned to where we are now. I would say we've returned to the way it was, but it's never going to be the same. It's the new, and that's good, because we're here, we all made it. We all made it to this little place that is Belle, Missouri, the middle of nowhere, at the center of a lot of things, right here. So I just want to say thank you. But, as Nathaniel said, something happy. This space, this rectangle right here, was known for a few decades as the Belle Laundromat.
Really?
This room right here.
Funny.
And if you look up, you see that wood right there.
Yeah.
That was where the dryers were. And they got so hot one day, they burned the roof.
Ruh-roh.
This wall were the washers, and they were on that wall as well. So, when the laundromat stories started to come out, that was what this place is. And the people that are old like me and older than me remember this place. So when we go around town, and I'm talking to the older ones like me, and I'm talking about Barb's Books, I say, the old library or the old laundromat, and they're like, that place? I remember. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for finding your way to Belle, Missouri.
Barb McLean, everybody. I'm done. I'm just going. Drink a lot of water. Sign up.
Come buy some books.
Yeah.
Come buy
Okay.
some things.
So I have to ask where in St. Charles was your
It's still there. It's in Midtown. Kind of by Lindenwood. Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you know?
yeah. I grew up in O'Fallon.
Oh, all right.
Well, I did somewhere growing up in O'Fallon.
Help me real quick, Ed?
Okay, yeah.
You
You wanna help me real quick? We're gonna get John up.
Oh my gosh.
What's that? You wanna help me
Yeah.
real quick and
It's
get John up?
incredible that you're
Oh, sure.
very proud of it. It's like, recognize
Yeah.
O'Fallon used to be.
O'Fallon used to be nothing.
An aunt and uncle there. We would drive and then their house, and
Yeah,
now
it
it's
was
like
like the early
breweries.
1970. Yeah, that was back
exactly.
when it
Wall,
was
John, and
kind of like
help
this.
when you're ready.
So,
Or when Conneville was like this.
yeah, we're in a plaza that has the IGA in it. By Lindenwood.
I remember
Good to see you.
where
Thank you so much for
Lindenwood was
coming.
my
Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Can't wait to connect and,
Not the
Oh my
deal,
gosh,
but
yeah.
the
Make that
financial,
happen.
right under there.
Okay.
yeah, me too.
And,
This
I
weekend's gonna be good.
It's
Gonna be good, good, good.
Uh-huh.
So
I finished
my
this week
sister went,
without
we're very
layout
familiar,
this week.
with that, yeah, that's
it's
not
like-
the same either.
Oh my gosh, those beautiful buildings.
Feels
And,
like-
Right, and some of them are like, yeah, I don't know if they were fixed, but some of the doors were, you know,
When
very sad.
I have stuff to do.
But, yeah, I was just trying to figure out like where you were,
uh-huh.
because what my cousin and, some of my family still live, like in Winsfield, they just kind of moved a little bit.
There's been so much
You know,
growth out
the
there.
irony
Yeah, they had to.